Christmas season is my favorite time of the year, and not only that, my birthday is only 2 days later. Today I'm going to talk about selecting a Christmas tree from a standpoint of species. One of my fondest memories is when my father asked me if I wanted to go out and pick a tree with him. And we had 5 kids in our family, and I was the only one home at the time, so we went to a lot about 10 miles away from our house. And that was a really special time for me because I had 3 other brothers and 1 other sister, and it was just me and my father, and it was really cool as far as I'm concerned. Now here in Michigan we have a number of species that you can choose from. For instance, we have the Scotch Pine, which is back here, and the Scotch Pine was probably the #1 production tree in Michigan for quite some time. It's kind of fallen out of favor, and the reason why Scotch Pine was in favor is because you could get a tree from it pretty quickly, usually within about 9 or 10 years, which meant you get a quick return on your investment. But some of the problems involved with Scotch Pine was the fact that some of the species, the needles would turn kind of yellow-green during the winter months, and the Christmas tree growers would have to end up spraying the trees with a paint. Also, the pines tend not to hold their needles as long as the firs do, and they tended to have some problems with trunks. They didn't always have a straight trunk. But this behind me is the Scotch Pine. It is a nice looking tree, and it is one of the less expensive trees, so if you're on a budget, this one is one that you might want to try. The needles are about 2 inches long, and normally they do shear them in such a way that they may be fairly thick, and it may be difficult for you to put decorations toward the inside of the tree. When I married and we had children, we used to have a tradition of going out and cutting our own Christmas tree. We would take the kids out to breakfast in the morning to a place they wanted to go, and then we would visit a farm somewhere in the state of Michigan, and we went all over. And we wanted to try different trees because we had to choose from the Scotch Pine, the Eastern White Pine. We also had the Austrian Pine, Concolor Fir, Fraser Fir, Grand Fir, Blue Spruce, White Spruce, Black Hill Spruce, Norway Spruce. There are many different varieties that we could choose from. And depending on the Christmas tree farm, each of them might grow different things. And then if there was something on that was good, we take them to a Christmas movie. I'm standing in front of a white pine here, and this is another tree that we use. It's a very nice tree. This is the state tree of Michigan, and it has very soft needles, and the branches are easily moved. They're not real stiff like, say, the firs are. One of the problems with this particular tree is if you have very heavy glass ornaments and you put them on, they tend to drag down the branches. And so you have to use lighter decorations. But it's a very nice tree. The needles tend to be about 3 to 4 inches long. And as I said, it's soft. And it makes a really nice Christmas tree. And you get that nice smell of pine when you bring it in the house. Yes, you do. Now this little baby right here is called the blue spruce. And not all blue spruces are blue. It depends on how much wax is actually on the needles, and it reflects more of a bluish light color to your eye. So blue spruce can be completely green. This one has a little bit of blue on it. Now this is a short needled tree, so it does not hold its needles as long as, say, the true firs or some of the pines will. But it's a very nice tree in terms of how it looks when you decorate it, but you really will have to pay for it. If I come out to a U-cut farm, I want to be sure that I'm wearing a jacket with long sleeves. I'm going to wear gloves because these short needles, when you touch them with your hand, they can hurt. They're very stiff. And when you're trying to decorate it in the house, it's a little rough too. So you do need to make sure that you're wearing long sleeve shirts and some gloves, especially if you're reaching into the interior portion of the tree. Now, there are other spruces that are sold as Christmas tree, like the Black Hill Spruce or the White Spruce, and both of those are ones that we grew up on. And I'll show you a small one over here, and it's not large enough for harvesting, but it has a much shorter needle, and those needles drop very quickly, especially if you buy them from a lot. Now, this tree is one of my favorites. It's called the Concolor or White Fir, and this is one of the true firs. And one of the ways you can tell that you have a true fir is the needles are very soft, and the true firs tend to have very straight trunks. This tree is like the blue spruce in that, depending on how much wax is on the needles, there is some variation in terms of how blue or green they look. Excellent tree in terms of needle retention. It's one of my favorites, as I mentioned before, so it's called the Concolor or White Fir. I'm standing here in a Fraser Fir forest, and this is kind of the Cadillac of Christmas trees in this area. Very straight trunk. The needles are very similar to a balsam fir, but it's a nice dark green, as you can see here. Very stiff branches, nice thick branches. It's just an excellent Christmas tree, one of my absolute favorites. Of course, I think my biggest favorite is grand fir, but I think I'm going to have to do another video for that one because they don't really grow around here that much. I have some on my property, but they're not sheared like Christmas trees. But anyway, this is one of my favorites, and you might want to check this one out. It's perfect. It's open enough so that you can decorate in all parts of the plant. Of course, it depends on how people shear them as to how thick they look, but you can see where I can see in between there very easily. And I like to decorate into the interior of the tree and also on the outside of the tree. So this is my favorite. This is probably going to be the trees that we picked for this year. Well, I hope this video has been helpful in choosing a specific Christmas tree species. In some future videos, I'll talk a little bit about actually getting the tree from the farm and home, and also some safety and care of the tree. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll try to get to them as quickly as I can. And that's it for today. I'll see you later.